The Philadelphia Eagles are at the point where they need to really go back to square one, Chris, and try to determine why it is that so many of their guys get injured. Rookie receiver Jalen, Reagor, first-round pick, out 3 to 4 weeks with a torn labrum. That's just the latest. It seems like every day there's another injury to an Eagles player who otherwise would be part of the starting lineup or close to it in 2020. And yesterday, the big news on top of Reagor, Carson Wentz, day-to-day with a lower body injury. Now, this isn't hockey. This is just the kind of stuff that the NFL can get away with prior to week 1. They didn't even have to tell us lower body. They don't have to tell us day-to-day. All they have to say is he's not at practice. Next Wednesday, in advance of week 1 against Washington, we'll find out if Wentz practices. We'll find out what part of the lower body it is. They can't be that general. It's going to be ankle. It's going to be foot. It's going to be knee. It's going to be calf. It's going to be something lower body, unless they're lying now. And again, there's nothing that keeps them from lying now. There's no rules right now. But let's assume they're telling the truth. There's some sort of day-to-day lower body injury for Carson Wentz. I mean, let's start with him, and then we'll circle back to Reagor. Last year, Wentz went wire to wire. He was the only guy, I think, on the offense that went wire to wire. Right. And he ended up being a huge contributor down the stretch with a bunch of no-names around him. If he misses time, there's no Nick Foles there to save the day. It's Nate Sudfeld, right? It's Jalen Hurts. I mean, they may be in a mess.
It's night-night. It is night-night unless he's there. I mean, we're right back where we were last year. I mean, what are we talking about? Left tackle's hurt. Jason Peters, who's signed back to play guard because one of the best guards in football, and Brandon Brooks, he was hurt. Now we're talking about Jason Peters might have to move to left tackle. And let me just remind everybody, Jason Peters hasn't been able to stay healthy the last 3 years himself either. So that's an issue. Then Miles Sanders is hurt. And then Alshon Jeffrey's not back yet. And now Jalen Reagor's gone. And it's like, whoa. I mean, week 1's already looking like, hey, Carson's going to have to tell everybody to jump on his back, and he's going to have to carry the team already here on the offensive side of the ball. If he's not there capable of playing, forget it. Good night. No way. There's no way. I just don't see that happening. That's a huge blow with the Jalen Reagor injury and Andre Dillard being hurt at left tackle, certainly. But, here we are. I mean, again, we're Deshaun Jackson, who we know who is, he could still fly and all that, but he's had injury issues too the last few years. We're one post route away from him hurting a calf muscle or a hamstring and then going, wait, who the hell's playing receiver for the Eagles this year? So, I mean, they are dancing on thin ice right now, and it's the big thing. COVID-19 is the battle. We know that. The other battle is teams trying to keep their guys healthy, and we have some teams that just seem to be, wow, I mean, dropping like flies compared to others, and I'd be really interested to know what they're doing, or I know some of it's bad luck, but it's amazing right now.
And Reagor's injury happened when he tried to make a tackle after an interception that was thrown by Jalen Hurts. It was Hurts' first throw of a scrimmage they had yesterday. This is that balance. Like, do you tell your receivers and your other offensive players, if there's a turnover during a scrimmage, just stop? Like, what's the point?
I know.
Do you really need to practice tackling a guy when he's trying to return a turnover during a game? I don't know where that balance is.
It's a tough one,
but
Mike.
you see what can happen when guys who don't tackle for a living decide they're going to try to go throw a tackle during a scrimmage, and adrenaline kicks in as well, and pride kicks in. But now he's out for a few weeks, 3 to 4 weeks with this torn labrum because he tried to make a tackle during a scrimmage that was ultimately meaningless.
Yeah, a torn labrum too. Yeah, he'll be out 3 to 4 weeks, and he can come back then. It doesn't mean he's going to be 100%. He's going to have to – this is the type of injury that's just going to bother you all year. Every time he catches a screen pass and somebody lands on him wrong, he's going to have to come out of the game because he's going to be like, oh, damn, my shoulder hurts. I mean, that's what stinks about this injury. It's very easily to reoccur. But you're right, Mike. It's a very fine line getting back to what you're talking about because these coaches right now, we're 10 days away, 2 weeks away from real football, tackle football. Offenses are going to throw interceptions. So you do want your guys to get used to like, hey, lineman, we got to break on the ball. We got to go get this guy. Receiver, we got to go get him. And then you're right. The pride factor sets in. Here's a rookie. He's trying to show, hey, I'm tough. I'm a football player. He's trying to do all the right things, which, I give him credit for. And that happens. And, he's just not ready yet. So I don't know. I mean, I'm feeling bad about the Eagles already right now. It's making me think differently about how their season's going to start off. I think we both thought they were going to be very strong and one of the better teams in football.
At what point do we say there's a deeper issue? I'm no expert
Yeah.
in sports medicine or athletic training, but I know that just over the years you'll see different hot spots where it seems like it's more than just luck of the draw. It's more than just random. And I know from sitting next to Rodney Harrison in the screening room at NBC for the past 10 years, and he has this uncanny ability to spot, while watching 9 games at once, the potentially serious knee injury that causes him to smack me across the chest and say, watch this replay. And 9 out of 10 times, the guy who gets twisted into a human pretzel, who looks like he is not going to go off the field on anything but a cart, gets up and walks away. And that tells me that, number one, there's a much greater degree of flexibility in younger people than older people, but some of these teams know exactly how to get these guys in the kind of condition, the kind of shape, the kind of malleability that allows them to get pretzeled around like that and not get injured. So what are the teams doing wrong? Remember when Chip Kelly was the coach in Philly and it was the personalized smoothies to help guard against injury? Something's wrong there. So it can't just be bad luck to have this many injuries.
I mean, Mike, I'm with you. I think that's very, real question to ask there. When it starts to become commonplace 2-3 years in a row, I always go, well, man, bad luck. Okay, yeah, there could be some of that. But I would think either training or the approach to practice is not correct at this point. I think that's what we're probably seeing from a lot of these teams right now that got guys falling like flies. Are they being over-aggressive with the intensity of practice, trying to make up for lost time and knowing that we got a game 2 weeks from now? All I know is I'm not hearing very many injuries up in New England. That's all I know. And that's my baseline always. That's always my baseline. Because I don't know. I'm not hearing lower body injuries or guys falling like flies up in New England. Bill's obviously realized something about the way it is right now and what the way to practice, not overtax your guys that way. This is something that's very real. Yeah, battling the COVID-19 pandemic, as we saw Anthony Lynn saying, Hard Knocks is going to be a big part of the Super Bowl. Managing your football team and getting them in the proper shape and making sure they don't drop out, with huge numbers of guys weekly from injuries. That's another huge battle here as we go into week 1.
I think the key is avoiding the panic that comes from uncertainty, right? We've got limited practices. We've got no preseason games. How in the hell am I going to evaluate my roster? How am I going to get my team ready? Well, the only way to evaluate my roster is to pit man against man and see who the best guys are. And I just think that, and I think we've all been there when we are facing a challenge that we regard as daunting. One of the easiest ways to proceed is full speed ahead, no questions asked. Let's go attack this thing.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you're going to get guys injured.
Right.
When you do that in football, guys are going to get injured. If your attitude and if your way of dealing with it is, let's just go out there and iron sharpen iron and go beat the hell out of each other and see who's standing and we're going to find out who the toughest guys are that way. No, you're going to get guys injured. There's got to be a better way to separate wheat from chaff and get your roster down to 53 and figure out who the 16 practice squad players are going to be without making those decisions a hell of a lot more easy because all those guys that would otherwise be on the fringes are injured, Chris.
Yeah, no, I think it is real. Well, and, I also look at the Eagles a little bit like the 49ers in a lot of ways where I just go, I think they got a lot of psychos on that team, and I mean that in a good way, to where I think you probably got to govern them a little bit as far as practice is concerned. If you just let them go live to live, they go crazy. They're going to run through walls. They're going to kill each other. They don't care. It's the game, the type of players and personalities these teams have, accumulated. And Philadelphia, I do feel like, is one of those type of places. That's why they are good. They're fun to watch. They lay their body on the line. They throw their bodies all over the place. That's why they won the Super Bowl. But yeah, there's a fine line there in guarding your players from themselves a little bit to where they can't step off the gas pedal in certain situations and, whoa, we can't do that. My guys aren't capable. They're going to go full speed and someone's going to get hurt.
Left tackle Andre Dillard, first-round pick last year, was injured recently. And Doug Peterson, the coach of the team, rattled off a bunch of different names, a bunch of different candidates, and one of them is Jason Peters, who was brought back to play guard after Brandon Brooks went down for the year. And Peters is getting a $3 million base salary. He can make another $3 million on top of it, and he reportedly wants more if he's getting moved to left tackle. And I've seen some people saying, "Well, how dare you? You can't do that. You can't ask for more money to change position." Yes, you can. If you were brought in to play guard, and the discussion was you're coming in to play guard, and for all we know, there was a conversation. Hey, if you're going to move him to tackle, this is a different analysis altogether. I mean, left tackle is a more valuable position, and you're more exposed. You're more on an island, right? If you make a mistake at guard, it isn't as obvious as when you get your ass beat at left tackle, and those are all reasons that make that a more valuable position, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, hey, great, I got a job in senior management. Hey, great job. Hey, no, we're going to make you the president now. Well, I don't want any more money or anything like that. I know I'm the president and running the company now. But, well, yeah, of course. He signed up to play guard. You're right. It's a totally different animal. Guard, you got help around you. You got a tackle and a center on both sides of you. It's not always one-on-one. The tackle that's a whole different landscape as far as what's expected of you, the importance of that job. And I understand that, and I think that's why we're hearing the Eagles, at first here, I think they realize what they're dealing with. They're going to try other people at left tackle over Jason Peters and try to keep Jason Peters at right guard and deal with that and see if somebody else can't fill in the position of Andre Dillard, probably because they don't want to deal with the headache right now of having to give Jason Peters, $3-5 million extra dollars or whatever to play left tackle.
And they got to just hold their breath and assume he's not going to get injured.
Right?
I mean, once they start dropping, you just brace yourself for the next one. And you're not even in the games yet. And there's not even preseason games. These are practice injuries. It's amazing to me, but it's not, because we had to assume going in we're going to have a mixed bag. You're going to have New England with no word of anyone injured. You're going to have other teams where maybe they are beating the crap out of each other. I mean, the 49ers have had a ton of injuries.
Yeah.
They've got those roughnecks out there.
That's what I was saying.
That don't need to be. That's the thing. They don't need to be practicing tackling to the ground. They can tackle to the ground in their sleep. And again, we don't know the circumstances of every injury,
right.
but when you see a cluster, you have to ask yourself, is this something other than just bad luck? And sometimes it is bad luck, but I think it's incumbent on the organization, coaching staff, front office, everyone at some point to take a step back and say, why is this happening? Because obviously this isn't conducive to getting the best possible team ready to go to win as many games as they can.
No, it's just going to be part of the struggle throughout the year. Because, Jen, again, let's not forget, after week 1, I think they're going to have record numbers inside training rooms and as far as guys that need rehab. Oh, my ankle. Oh, my shoulder. Like you said, they're not even conditioned here for full contact practice, let alone, in 2 weeks, we're going to be toradoled up and flying around like crazy men, crushing each other. So that's going to be a big part. Managing bodies, especially this month of September, as everybody gets into football shape and deals with getting banged up and deals with, this is what it feels like to play injured and do all those things. A big a part of the season as any I've ever seen, or certainly in this season, that's for sure.
Yeah, and 13 days until the first full Sunday, and just 10 days until the Texans and the Chiefs get together. Had to stop and think. Had to think Monday, Thursday, 7, 8, 9, 10 days. 10 days for the Texans and the Chiefs on a special edition of Sunday Night Football on the first Thursday night to kick off the season and raise the banner and celebrate the championship in Kansas City with about 16,000 fans there. And those tickets are going for a pretty penny because everybody in Kansas City wants to be there to witness that event. Unfortunately, we won't be there. We'll be watching it on TV like everyone else. All right, let's take a break. We won't be watching one of the best college receivers in the country play this year, but not because he's in a conference that isn't playing and not because he's concerned about COVID. We'll tell you why. Jamar Chase is standing down for 2020 when PFT Live continues right after this.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.